Why are so many women who have everything still quietly unhappy? No one wants to talk about it, but maybe it's time someone did. In today's world, the modern woman is celebrated like never before. She's independent, empowered, and unapologetic. She's told she can do anything a man can do, and better. On Instagram, TikTok, and every glossy magazine cover, she's portrayed as confident, thriving, and free from the traditional constraints of the past. But behind that polished image, something doesn't quite add up. Let's look at the numbers. Women are more educated than ever, more financially independent, and more represented in media and politics. And yet, according to multiple studies, levels of life satisfaction, relationship stability, and even mental health among women have been steadily declining for the past few decades. Why? It's a question most people are afraid to ask, because to answer it honestly means we might have to challenge some of the most sacred modern narratives. It means questioning whether what we've been told, that liberation equals happiness, is always true. Behind the filters and girl boss slogans, many women feel a quiet void, a sense that something is missing, even though society insists they should feel fulfilled. Some chase careers and status only to look around in their mid-30s, wondering where all the good men went. Others follow the script of independence, only to find themselves isolated in a world of hyper-individualism. But this isn't about blame, it's about truth. Because if we don't speak honestly, how can we fix what's broken? In this video, we're going to peel back the layers. No name-calling, no hate, just uncomfortable questions and inconvenient facts that might explain why so many modern women feel stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction, even when they've supposedly won. If you've ever wondered why success doesn't always feel like happiness, keep watching. You're not alone, and this conversation might be exactly what you need to hear. They told women they could have it all: the thriving career, the luxurious lifestyle, the perfect relationship, and maybe, eventually, the family too. And for a while, it seemed like that dream was within reach. But no one warned them about the cost. The truth is, having it all often means doing it all, alone. And the harsh reality? Time doesn't wait. From a young age, modern women are encouraged to chase education and career milestones, often placing relationships, marriage, and children far down the priority list. Society praises ambition and independence, but it rarely talks about trade-offs. The years spent climbing the corporate ladder or finding yourself are often the same years when fertility is at its peak and love is easier to build. By the time some women are ready to settle down, they find that dating isn't what it used to be. The pool of available, desirable partners has shrunk. Men their age are either married, dating younger women, or uninterested in commitment. And suddenly the fairy tale seems a lot harder to script. Of course, not every woman wants children, and not everyone dreams of marriage. That's fine. But for the ones who do, the delay everything mindset can backfire. The narrative of waiting until you're ready sounds empowering, until you realize that biology has its own schedule. We've romanticized the idea of total independence, but rarely ask whether it's actually making people happier. Is juggling 60-hour work weeks, rent payments, and loneliness truly freedom? Or is it just a different kind of trap? This isn't about pushing women back into the kitchen or undoing decades of progress. It's about recognizing that the dream of having it all might be more fantasy than fact, and that real fulfillment often requires making choices, not chasing everything at once. The modern woman is told she can do everything a man can, but is she ever told that she doesn't have to? Let's talk about modern dating, or what some call the Hunger Games of romance. Many modern women, especially those who are successful, educated, and independent, have been taught to never settle. And that's fair. No one should feel forced into a relationship that doesn't make them happy. But at some point, the bar stopped being high and started becoming impossible. We've created a checklist of expectations that reads like a billionaire superhero fantasy. He has to be tall, attractive, emotionally intelligent, funny, financially successful, adventurous, loyal, good in bed, family-oriented, and have no baggage, all while making her feel like the center of the universe. Here's the catch. The man who fits that list, he's rare. Statistically speaking, almost all women want the top 10 to 20% of men. That leaves the vast majority of average, decent, hardworking men feeling invisible. Social media and dating apps have only made things worse. When someone gets 100 likes on a photo or dozens of DMs a week, it creates the illusion of endless options. It feels like there's always someone better, just a swipe away, richer, hotter, taller. But that illusion often leads to dissatisfaction, ghosting, and a cycle of chasing what doesn't exist. Worse still, when women finally meet a good man, someone kind, stable, maybe not flashy but genuine, he's often dismissed as boring. Why? Because we've glamorized drama over stability. We've mistaken excitement for compatibility. And in the process, many women are skipping over the exact men who would build with them, not just impress them. The tragedy is that some women realize this too late. After years of chasing the one, they look around and find no one. Because good men, they don't wait around forever. It's not wrong to have standards, but when your standards are based on fantasy, you might miss out on something real. Love isn't about finding perfection. It's about building connection. So maybe the problem isn't that there are no good men. Maybe it's that we stopped recognizing them. In today's culture, criticism of male behavior is not only accepted, it's applauded. Men are constantly told to do better, to be more emotionally available, more supportive, more evolved. And in many cases, that advice is valid. But here's the question no one dares to ask. When was the last time we held modern women to the same standard? There's a growing accountability gap, a cultural blind spot where any critique of female behavior is instantly labeled as sexist or misogynistic. The result? An environment where women are rarely encouraged to self-reflect or confront their own roles in relationship breakdowns, dating struggles, or even personal unhappiness. When a relationship fails, the narrative often points to what he did wrong. He wasn't ambitious enough. He was emotionally unavailable. He lacked direction. But what if she was hypercritical, emotionally distant, entitled? No one asks, because we've made it taboo. This isn't about blaming women for everything. It's about realizing that growth requires accountability for both sides. You can't improve what you refuse to acknowledge. We've created a culture where female empowerment means never apologize, never compromise, and cut him off if he doesn't meet your vibe. But sometimes, what looks like strength is actually fear. Fear of being vulnerable, of being wrong, or of admitting that independence can't fix everything. Even more troubling is how some women weaponize victimhood. Instead of facing their own flaws, they retreat into narratives of being traumatized, triggered, or toxic man survivors, regardless of context. This doesn't just hurt men, it also holds women back from genuine growth. Voices that try to address this imbalance, whether from men or from brave women themselves, are often mocked, silenced, or deplatformed. Thought leaders like Camille Paglia or Christina Hoff Sommers are ridiculed simply for encouraging critical thinking. But without accountability, there's no maturity. Without maturity, there's no real love. Being empowered doesn't mean being perfect. Sometimes, the most powerful thing a woman can do is look in the mirror and ask, what could I have done differently? That's not weakness, that's wisdom. So, what now? If you've made it this far, you've already done something many people refuse to do. You've listened. You've allowed yourself to consider uncomfortable truths. And that, in itself, is powerful. Because this video isn't about tearing anyone down, it's about waking up from illusions, from false promises, from culturally approved lies that haven't delivered what they claimed. Modern women have been sold a script. Be strong, be independent, chase the dream, and happiness will follow. But if that dream isn't working, then maybe, just maybe, and it's time to write a new one. That doesn't mean going back to the 1950s. It doesn't mean giving up on ambition or self-respect. It means understanding that freedom doesn't mean avoiding responsibility, And strength doesn't mean rejecting partnership. It means recognizing that love isn't a prize handed to you when you tick all the boxes. It's something you build, nurture, and grow with humility and patience. It means understanding that not every man is an enemy, and not every challenge is oppression. Sometimes it's just life, messy, flawed, and human. And maybe, just maybe, fulfillment comes not from having it all, but from having what matters most to you, even if that requires compromise, vulnerability, or a willingness to reevaluate your path. The harsh truth is, happiness doesn't always look like what Instagram shows you. It might look like choosing stability over excitement, like respecting the man who's always been there, not chasing the one who never was, like realizing that softness is not weakness. It's power, too. So ask yourself, what do you really want? Not what society tells you to want, not what feminism told you would fulfill you, but you, honestly. Because once you're brave enough to face that answer, without ego, without fear, you might discover that the life you want is still within reach, but only if you're willing to hear the truth.